Planet Fitness Black Card, you'll get your first month free when you join today. Sign up for just $1 down, $24.99 a month, and get your first month free. Cancel anytime. Deal ends March 13th.
Okay, I think we are officially live, and I'm just finishing up a game of Tycoon, trying to get the season points right now. I think this is the last run I have to do. Let me just check. Yep, it's coming through. Yes, we are live. Oh, I got my butt handed to me on the last 2 rounds I played. So this one's at least starting much, much stronger. It was quite embarrassing how bad I was in the last 2 rounds. Although one of them, I didn't have a card higher than a 9, which was the first time I've ever seen something go so low in a hand of mine. I actually like this card game. Definitely not going to say I'm the best at it, but I do enjoy playing it. Let's get rid of that. No, get rid of that. Wow. But thankfully I've got an answer for it. And this is the last round of this grouping, so not too much longer on this. Let's not burn the Joker yet. Not too big of a deal, thankfully. I should probably start dumping low cards. Oh, gross. This doesn't help me greatly. I'm not entirely convinced I'll win this round. Oh, well. That wasn't bad. Maybe they don't have a lot of high stuff left. They I was hoping they'd both pass. Okay, that didn't help at all. I gotta imagine they have pairs, which is why I didn't jump out with those. Yeah. I may have burned myself by not playing them, actually. That's a shame. But I'm already up on 60, so I should still win. Ugh. Gross. She might win this one. Yep. Oh, I don't understand this either. Like, when I'm up a couple rounds and then someone else wins, it kicks me out. And I'm sure there's like some back-end rule that makes that happen, but I have no idea what it is. Ooh, that tea's still too hot. Sorry, just letting my wife know our kid's on the way home. Parenting doesn't stop just because I'm streaming. That's the truth of it. Okay, so I think that's enough for me to get my rewards for the season. What did I get here? Something. Let's see. Yes, all right, so I've got all the gems from here. So that was my big thing, is I wanted to clear that out. And let's see what else we can get. 5,000. I am hurting for materials big time. So let's go with those. Focus these down, and then I can always go back in and get more of this stuff later. So not too worried about it. But as always, I'm trying to level my characters and do not have enough stuff for it. So every little bit is definitely helpful. And I think I have enough for a pull down here. Yep, so I can do a pull later. I'll save that for a little bit. I'm not going to pull for this new character. She looks fine and all, but I don't have enough teams to really use with her, I don't think. And I really want to save. I'm still debating Akechi as well. As much as I like his character, his preview just came out. And it seems like just from the initial things people are saying, he's more of a support DPS for, looks like Summer Closer or Joker. And I like my Joker team, but I just don't know if he'll bring enough to justify potentially running through all my resources again. So I'm going to hold off. I'm going to wait a little bit. He doesn't come out, I think, until the 20th for this server or thereabouts. So I've got time. I don't have to make a decision just yet. And then he'll be out for, a week or two anyways. So let's go. But in that vein, I do need to clear out her chapter. So that's what we're going to focus on tonight. Getting through all of this. Boom. Sure, we'll run that team. Why not? No, we won't. Why are you in here? Oh, because I have to. Well, that sucks. And we'll be skipping the story. I will be doing all the story once this hits global. Hopefully soon. Hey, how's it going? Oh, geez, guy sounded so weird like that. Alexander, how are you tonight, my friend? Anything back here? Nope. Did it get the other one? That was weird. So let me just check. SR Kid. Okay, yeah, he's home. Sweet. Joy of teenagers. You got to make sure they make it home. Yeah, I did see on Twitter today, or X, whatever, there's a article coming up in one of the Japanese magazines. I'm not sure what it's called. And it sounds like maybe they'll have some sort of feature or news about P5X, so that'll be pretty cool. I feel like we're never getting global. I know they're taking their sweet, sweet time announcing anything. You're sick of P5 already? How far into it have you gotten? And there's my teenager right there. Hey, Max. Are you playing through Royal right now, Alexander? I actually kind of want to do another playthrough of Royal at some point. Oh, that was an enemy. I wasn't even paying attention. Turn my headset down. Oh, okay, did both on day one. Yeah, yeah. Did you do the spin-off games at all? Tactico is definitely, I think, the weakest of the spin-offs, but I really like Strikers. Although I haven't played that since it first launched, so I never did like a second playthrough of that or anything. And obviously I like this game too, this spin-off. Not a bad one at all. It has its Scotch mechanics that you're going to love to hate, or just hate flat out, but other than that, it's still a really fun game. Hey, Alex. Alexander and Alex. Got the double Alexes tonight. Yeah, Tactica, I would say it's probably the easiest tactics type game I've ever played in all my years of gaming, and I've been around since like Nintendo when it launched, because I'm old, or old enough. So I wouldn't say go into it expecting a ton of challenge. The story's pretty fun. It's nothing revolutionary, but yeah, it's definitely, it's more about the cast than like a super challenging experience or anything like that. So don't get your hopes up too much on that aspect of it. it's kind of funny because it's one of the earlier stages, not too far into the game. They have like a challenge stage, and it teaches you a very specific mechanic. And the second that mechanic clicks in your mind, you can basically cheese 90% of the rest of the maps. And so I don't know why they taught it the way that they did, but it's like, oh wait, I can do that in regular gameplay. And if I do that in regular gameplay, the game's really easy. So, I mean, I guess you could just not do that tactic and it's probably harder, but I don't know. Well, I have the tactic and not use it, I guess. I still think tactics-wise, probably my favorite tactics game of recent history was Triangle Strategy. Really, really want to do another playthrough of that one because I did a blind playthrough, and so I didn't get like the ultimate best ending or whatever. Still got one I thought was satisfying, but I do want to do like the full playthrough again, get the best ending, and it's been long enough that I don't remember all of like my more cheese strategies that I could do in it. So I'll probably run that through on like a hard mode eventually again. Don't like too much challenge. I'm too old to be playing. Yeah, dude, I don't even touch Souls-like games. I don't even bother. I played, was it Demon Souls? A long time ago. It's got to be over a decade ago now. And I never finished it. I got maybe, I'm going to guess 30% of the way through. That might not even be right. But I got that far. And I remember my boss at the time was also playing it, and we both just gave up. We're like, it's too much. It wasn't fun. It was a cool game, cool looking game, loved the atmosphere. But yeah, I just was not good at it. That's 100% on me. But tactics games, like strategy tactics games, those I tend to like. What do I need to get? Hearts and whatchamacallits, okay. Those I tend to like a little bit harder. I do enjoy some of the, I guess, thinking through it. Like Fire Emblem I'll always play where like if you lose a character, they're gone. You know, all that good stuff. But yeah, Tactica, if you do pick up that spin-off, I see it. Oh, did I just jump in the wrong spot? I see it on sale like all the time for like 20 bucks or whatever. So you can probably get it for a really good sale at some point. But go into it just to kind of have fun with the characters if you like the cast. Otherwise, yeah, I don't think there's much for it. If not that, right? 100%, cool. Yeah, even like, oh, this is because I can't read. That puts you back in if you want to explore more to get the rest of the stuff. I thought it was going to skip me to the next stage. You know, another game that can have some challenge that I really like and I might pick up soon after I finish Metaphor is Monster Hunter. That series I've loved for a very, very long time. I used to play it back on, was it 3DS? I think it was. Yeah, because I don't think I ever played it on Vita. But that one, like the initial game I find can be, you know, really, I don't know if easy is the right word. It's just not built to be challenging at that stage. Hold on a second. The space heater is still on. I'm starting to roast. But some of the later hunts can definitely increase the difficulty a bit, which I think is fun. And then obviously there's some weapons that are harder than others, in my opinion. There's definitely some that are more, I don't know, beginner friendly. And so you can kind of, I guess, tweak your difficulty a little bit based on that. So I've kind of set a rule for myself that I'm not going to keep buying games to go into my backlog. So I'm waiting until I finish Metaphor, and then I'll take a look at that or something else is out that might catch my eye. And I still have to play the second part of the Final Fantasy VII remake or whatever. And the only reason that one doesn't grab me as fast as other games is I've played Final Fantasy VII enough times to, even with them changing the story beats here and there, it's not so new to me that I feel like I have to rush into it. And I know the next one's not going to be out for a while, so it's not like I have to finish it and then like a week later the next one is out. So I'll eventually get it, but I wouldn't say it's first on my list. It's something I could probably catch on a digital sale one day and you know, feel good about. So yeah, Monster Hunter is currently my top. Likely to be my next game I pick up. So Alexander, what games do you like playing besides the Persona franchise? Blah. Let's get past that. Yes, light, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to get the thing, dude. Thank you. Are they just reusing that from the dungeon? Yeah. That was like a mechanic in one of the palaces. Yeah, I will say with the Souls-like games, though, even though I don't like playing them myself, again, my own skill level is the problem with that one. I do like watching them. And so I'll occasionally pop into like a Twitch stream or something like that and watch other people play it. Or you get the, you know, crazy gameplay videos where someone can like, I don't know, like never get hit by the boss and like set up some really cool looking things. You know, obviously people with much, much more talent than I have. So those are fun. I do like, you know, viewing it at least. And other Alex, since I've got two, I'll have to make sure you use Alexander and Alex. How's your week been, man? Everything going good for you? God, Wonder on auto battle in this game is like the worst. He doesn't think to switch between personas and use like actually useful spells. I think he literally just uses something from whatever persona's the one that you have as you walk into battle, which is 99% of the time not what you want to use. Been good. Just got home from a fireman's banquet. Oh, nice, nice. Oh, so you're a fireman? Have you told me that before? I can't remember if you've told me that. But thank you for coming back to watch this, and hopefully the banquet was fun. And my week, yeah, my week has been fast, actually. Everyone I've talked to this week has been like, it just disappeared. And it's certainly the way I feel. Oh yeah, there's one of the challenge, I guess. I feel like it was one of those, got into the rhythm at work and had so much stuff going on after work that I blinked and it was Friday. Which in some ways is good, I guess. But I finally got a bunch of data loaded in some systems I needed at work to like take the next step of a project. That was one I wanted to close 2 months ago. So I sprinted through some analysis I needed to set up for that. And then next week, hopefully I can do quite a bit more of it. So it's nice to get that going. And then I got my team working through building some systems that we're designing. And so I feel like some puzzle pieces are just moving the way I wanted them to, which is very nice. I'm a lot happier when things are progressing and like you see what you've architected and you see it kind of start coming together. And so it was a fun week for that reason. Volunteer firefighter. I wish you could do more, but day job gets in the way. Okay. But still awesome that you do the volunteer firefighting. What am I missing? I'm missing a treasure chest and some hearts, but I still have this door to go through. Let's see. Hearts. Where's the treasure chest? Probably down there. Yep, there it is. Alright, so we'll turn off the light. That should open that up. Hello. There we go. And my stepdad and my brother were actually volunteer firefighters when we lived in Virginia many, many moons ago. I was slightly too young to be able to join with them. Can I? Thank you. And we got everything. Sweet. Okay, so this one's clear. Sure. That option is yes. Donation banquet in LA for the... Oh, yeah. Yeah. God, those fires, man. Those were outrageous. Did they ever... I didn't follow up the news after. Did they ever find out what started them? Was it... Do they know if it was foul play, or do they know if it was just, you know, naturally caused, or combination of both since there was multiple fires? I know over the years we've had a few pretty bad ones here in Colorado. And a couple were unfortunately, I think one was a cigarette that got thrown out a window. A couple were natural. And then one, I want to say, was actual arson, which is just, I mean, none of it's good, but it's just that much worse when somebody is deliberately causing that. It's just, I don't know. Baffles my mind that someone would do something like that. Oh, they're bringing these puzzles back. Some of these are very annoying. Thankfully, they usually don't make them too hard in these extra scenarios. These feel like a waste of time. Like, I literally pressed that button so that robot could walk 5 feet in front of me instead of just leaving this open for me to walk. Like, that's all that it did, is walk down that hallway. I'm all for puzzles, but if that's your puzzle design, it's a little bit lacking. So, Alexander, are you in LA? I'm like... reading the Alex and Alexander when I glance over is totally tripping me out. It's throwing me off a little bit. So apologies if I confuse any of your guys' statements there. I think otherwise for this week, the only stuff I got into, Alex, is on the pinball machine I installed a couple upgrades. So I put a shooter lane protector in there, and then I'm trying out this one mod, but I actually may pull it off because it fixed one problem but caused a different one. West LA, okay. Now, is everything fine with your family, yourself, like with the fires? Were you guys out of harm's way, or, you know, things like that, hopefully? Oh, God. I was not ready for that. Yeah, so I worked on the pinball machine, and then... so I think if you guys were on the last stream, I told you about how my friend's been developing a video game, I think like 8 or 9 months now. And so he asked me about doing some art. And so I've been messing around with the programs quite a bit. I've got some stuff set up on my iPad now, so I can do some of it when I'm away, some of it when I'm at home. And then on my, you know, regular PC, I've got Sprite, a bunch of other programs that I use and such. And so I've been trying to rework my artistic muscles to get better at it, not be such a scrub. Because that's the bad thing, is when you haven't practiced for as many years as I have, or have not practiced, I should say, you get rusty, and it becomes, it's just time consuming. You have to go back through the old exercises and like getting used to drawing again. So spent quite a bit of time on that, quite a few hours, and he and I were talking today, so we've got some character thoughts and changes we're going to make. And so I'm going to start working on those tomorrow. Thankfully, not something we have to rush through. Because like I told him, I was like, it's going to take me some time. And I don't, I can't do that as like a, 5 hours a day kind of a thing. So I try to squeeze in 30 minutes here and there and then a couple hours each day on the weekends. But it's fun. I actually enjoy doing it. So that's been the other kind of side of my hobbies this week that I've gotten into. It's all good stuff. Good week overall. Oh, 2 more days before it got to me and my boyfriend was safe. Okay. But the winds pulled the smoke in. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I'm not so familiar with the area well enough to know how far away each of the different things are. I've actually only been to LA once, and it was just kind of passing through to go on a cruise. And so, we flew in, took a bus over to the port, and that's my exposure to LA. Did see they have a Square Enix office out there, though, so we'd love to go back and visit them. But all the same, I'm glad you and your boyfriend and everyone are safe. That's the most important thing. Smoke's got to suck, though. I do know, like, when we got the fires in Colorado here, none of them got super, super close to my house, but we definitely had plenty of the smoke rolling in. And so we get those, like, daily weather warnings. That's, like, the air quality advisory or whatever. Things are bad, et cetera, et cetera. And then you'd go outside, and it's wild. Because from my house, like, the mountains are right next door, and we couldn't see them. Like, it would be so thick that you would see maybe, I don't know, half a mile. It would be my guess. But did that robot literally just go like 2 feet? And that was it. And so just to see all that smoke and then have like zero visibility to something as big as a mountain literally right next to you it's wild in my head to think about that. Only affect the cities on the outside perimeter. Oh, okay. Mostly just dry grass and mountains. I see. Yeah, and I know for us, and as far as I'm aware, for you guys out there, it's been a lot of dry seasons these last few years too. I know that's usually a huge concern. I think I read too, and I could be very well wrong on this, but wasn't there a bunch of, I don't know if controversy is the right word, but maybe news stories or whatever, about how they did something different, like they pulled back on how much water they were storing or something like that, and it was not what caused the fires, but it was like in proximity to the fires, like in time, and that became like a big outcrying of people saying, hey, could have potentially responded better if that hadn't happened. I seem to recall something about that, or maybe someone told me something about that. Yeah, one day, exactly. Yeah, 1 day of rain all winter. Yeah, nothing says water shortage like not having any at all. Yes, go down there and fight them. It's just so tough because, like, what can you even do about that, right? Can't do much to control Mother Nature. Tonight is a black cherry tea, by the way, and it is delicious. She literally put like the whole team to sleep. Oh, okay, Joker's still up. Fire the fire chief because she called out the city for not funding the fire department. I mean, I'm not sure how, in what way she called them out, like how harsh it may or may not have been, but it seems a little bit heavy-handed to fire someone for, I'm going to say, probably citing something true, right, on the funding. Did I get 100%? Okay, cool. I mean, I guess I don't know. I didn't see the stories, but if the tact was completely like inappropriate, maybe one thing, but to just simply say, hey, we're underfunded, it's not helping us in these bad situations, I don't think that's something one should be fired for. Did I just get that one? Yeah, I did. Okay. Oh, thanks for pressing the button. So I can go 2 feet to the left. So glad you did that. I wonder how much more they can do to prevent it in the future, too. I mean, you can't necessarily stop, you know, the weather if a lightning bolt strikes into dry grass. I mean, what can you do? But I wonder if there's other things that can be done, different ways to, you know, prepare, have more fire retardants and stuff like that prepared. I don't know. But to your point, if they, you know, are understaffed and under budgeted, under resourced in the fire department, there's probably not much they can do with that. 40% of the trucks were in Jesus, 40%. Water towers are empty. Maybe the water tower thing is part of what I heard about. Okay. Most of our hydrants are broken. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty bad. And again, I don't feel like if she called that out, I mean, as long as she wasn't like I said, the tact matters to some extent, but just to say the things that are true, I don't feel like that's something someone should be fired for, especially a fire chief who's like in the know, understands like why they need these things. Alex, I feel like it's all over the nation. Seems like fire budgets get smaller and smaller. It's more than just that too. I think it's fire budgets, police budgets. It's all the public services, right? Education, I think, is another big one. It's all the things that I think the people need are the things that are getting cut, which is, it's very sad. I'm afraid, too, it'll only get a bit worse with the way our economy is right now. And now that we have new trade wars and everything going off, like, I don't see the purses opening up any quicker anytime soon, unfortunately. What's crazy to me, too, and sorry, not to be too political, so I apologize if I'm not intentionally trying to offend anybody, but I've got friends who, we'll say, have very close ties to ICE, and so there's all sorts of ICE raids going on out here in Denver and the surrounding areas in Colorado, and the amount of money that is being poured into the ICE raids, but then you hear about what you just said, which is, you know, all this underfunding on things, on public services, etc., and it just, I just feel like we're investing as a nation in the wrong areas for the people, and it just, I don't know, it's disheartening a bit. Grammys and Oscars, baby. That's all you need, right? If you survive the CM, yeah, if they're not burnt to ashes on the ground. Priorities, right? Priorities. Let me see. If I step on that, will that go away? See, this is what I mean, guys. Like, tell me if I'm just being nitpicky on the game, but you've seen the extent of the puzzles in these dungeons so far. Like, do you feel that that was valuable time spent, me running over here to step on the screen button to turn off the electric that was literally right there? Like, I feel like that's just, it's lazy design. Just don't do it. Like, somebody had to take the time to program that in. Like, why? It's 30 feet away. Time padding. Yeah, exactly. And look, I mean, it's a gacha game, right? Like, I'm not expecting there to be... Oh, did I miss... I almost missed that treasure chest. I'm not expecting there to be, like, AAA game quality, you know, dungeon puzzles. And frankly, honestly, in a gacha game, I don't know that I want that. Like, a lot of what I like about gachas is I can get in, play for 20 minutes at most and get out and feel like I've done something and like progress the character. And so to add that kind of padding just feels arbitrary. Now, if this was like the mainline Persona game, do I have everything or am I just missing the one boss? Just the boss, okay. If this was the mainline Persona game, then yeah, absolutely. I expect you to have something that is, I don't know, different, inspiring, entertaining about a dungeon. Like if you compare Tartarus from P3 to the dungeons in P5, like night and day difference, right? And, you know, I would easily argue that P5 has the stronger, you know, dungeoning palace type system over P3, even P5R as they redid it. And so yeah, main lines, yeah, give me that kind of stuff. Side games, stuff like this, nah, not so much. I mean, even in the story mode of this game, whatever you want to call it, those palaces, I don't mind it as much. I think my criticism in those palaces is still somewhat the same in that they're not exactly challenging puzzles. They're not quite as bad as what you just saw, where it's like step on the button to go 2 more feet. There are a couple like that, but they're not all like that. But they're certainly not as frustrating. Definitely still on the easy side though, because I don't wait for the translations to kick in when I'm playing, just because, like I said, I'll do the story when this comes out in global and I'll sit back and enjoy it. I did it for the first 2 palaces and it took so long that it just slowed the game down too much for me. And I still solved every puzzle. Like they're at least intuitive enough that I don't have to read it. And so yeah, a little patty, but a little bit more welcome because it's like holistically more like a palace from the original game. Not the biggest fans of Dungeons P5. Some were too long and boring. Oh, interesting. See, I really do like the TV world. And the TV world isn't, if you think about it mechanically, the TV world's not that much different than Tartarus. Granted, it's, you know, obviously there's different spots that you go to for the different characters. But once you're in the dungeon, maybe the layout's a little bit cleaner, but the actual what you're doing is really the same. What I like about P4 dungeons versus P3 is the environments felt nice and different. Like if I think about the first time I went to Risei's dungeon and I was like, oh, I was not ready for that, right? Like that, it threw me off and it was a really fun one. Versus, you know, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. The guy who's like a video game character in his dungeon. I'm spacing it. But they're so uniquely different. So even though mechanically very, very similar in what you're doing to Tartarus, it was at least a step forward. I liked it. P5 I still really like. I could see why it's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's perfectly fine. And I think with P5R, they added what? They added those skull things. I'm trying to think what those, I don't remember what they're called, but where you could get like an extra accessory or item or whatever if you found all 3 of them. And so that added like an extra incentive to play more of the dungeon if you'd played it on the original and then played it on P5R. How is this game doing financially? Yeah, let's see. The last report I saw, it made quite a few million. I don't think, it was definitely nothing that caused any concern from a financials perspective. I think that there's usually the true case of when it comes to the West, there tends to be less spending in comparison to a lot of the Eastern countries. I don't think that would be surprising to me if I saw that happen, you know, when it comes out here. But I still think it's doing strong enough that they're still going full force into Japan. I don't know if you're here at the start there, Alex, but there's a Japanese magazine someone posted on Twitter today, and they have an article coming up about the game in Japan. I'm assuming in Japan. And so, you know, they're still pressing forward with it all, which is good to see, of course. Am I missing anything on any of those? Yeah, there's another one up there. So, yeah, I don't think there's any concern on it. I think, honestly, my biggest concern would be if they take too damn long to get this to global, and then you get, say, a P6 announcement And rumor has it, and who knows if this is true, rumor has it with P6, they're not going to like announce it, then wait 3 years to launch it. Allegedly, it's going to be either the same year or very close to the following year. But imagine this gets announced and then it gets released, you know, a couple months later. And then there's a P6 announcement like a week later, like, or even like a month later, right? Like this game will die too quickly because everyone's going to be like, oh, the next big Persona thing is going to come. So if I have any concern, it's that that will happen. More so than the financials of it are in any sort of jeopardy. What is this? Oh, okay, I can go up. Why can't I move? Yeah, I mean, unless the only other thing I could think of is if they intend to leave this running with P6, because they could always just add the P6 characters. So like right now, their collab is P5R. And so, you know, obviously we got Violet there, right? And Akechi comes out. We just got his previews today. And so he hits this server on the 20th, I think. He's the last of the P5R collaboration event. Unfortunately, they're not doing Maruki, from what I can tell. And then they're hitting the anniversary next month. And so we don't know if it's going to be a new character, original character for the anniversary, or if that's going to be the start of the Persona 3 collab. But they're, from my understanding, they're going, that's their next one is P3R. From there, there's already been talks about them going into Persona 4. And so they're definitely covering the older games. So there's nothing to say they can't cover the new ones as well. Yeah, Alexander, you're not wrong. Like it took so long for them to get this game out. Or Persona 5, I mean. If anything, I think they're being a little bit more cautious to not show anything about P6 before it's farther along in production, hopefully very close to release when they actually announce it. Because I remember... Oh, was that Hearts down there? I think I need to go back down. No, let's not fight this guy yet because it's going to kick us out of the stage. Oh, I thought I said no. I guess I picked the wrong option. I was talking about Persona 6. Oh yeah, so I remember the first teaser for P5. It was like the chair with like the ball and chains connected to it. And then I feel like nothing got said for like a year or two after that. Like it was like a long break. It reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy 15, where that started as like 13 verses and then went dark forever. And then they showed, I think, something at an E3 or something like that, or some trade show. And, okay, oh, it brought me down after. Okay, so I didn't mess up. And then after that trade show, again, it went dark for like forever. And I remember they had like this whole cool looking behemoth fight and stuff like this. What did I mess up there? Okay, I missed a treasure chest somewhere. And I can't go back. I'll have to replay to get that last treasure chest. Can I get back out? Oh, wait. What was that? Oh, cool. I can get back in. Okay. But yeah, it was the same kind of problem of giving hope or information or whatever too early, which I just don't think is... I don't think it's helpful. And I hope they don't make that mistake with 6. Can I go this way? Oh, there it is. I see it. How do I get up to there? There we go. Alright, good. We don't have to backtrack the whole dungeon. Didn't I just see it up here? What in the heck? It's like up and to the right. There it is. Okay, God, I couldn't figure out how to get there. Oh, you didn't like Final Fantasy 15, huh? There were parts... So, I think... because when I first played it, it was before they made the enhancements to chapter, was it 13? It definitely had a story pacing issue. I will say that. Yeah, I think it was chapter 13 is when you go to the crystal. That whole section was not great. Not great at all. I think after they launched Comrades, that whole back half of the game got better, but it definitely struggled. I actually enjoyed the story of it. Not all of the story. There was some story parts that you could tell they had a different idea and they had to switch it or something. I wouldn't say it's the top Final Fantasy for me by any means, but I definitely didn't hate it. Stop open world. Yeah, I don't feel like it benefited greatly. Which way am I supposed to go? The other way? All right, so let's go this way. I don't feel like it benefited greatly in the way they implemented the open world. Also partially because of that whole back half where then it became linear and it felt so disjointed in that approach. A lot of people give, for example, Final Fantasy 13 a lot of crap for being linear, and I actually really enjoyed it that way because it felt like you always in the narrative had a reason why you're going forward, and you didn't have a good approach or reason story-wise to stop, right? Like in that game, and that's one of my favorite Final Fantasies, that whole trilogy. In the Final Fantasy, original 13, like if you had stopped, it would have been a problem for your party. And they have that one kind of open world segment that is probably, in my opinion, the weakest part of the game. So I think linear is fine in a lot of games. I think other games can do open world. Breath of the Wild is probably one of the more modern examples of doing it really well. But that game to me was structured on the whole concept of just it's full exploration, it's full open world, and that's what it was as an identity. I think forcing open world just to put that checkbox on the back of a game box, I think that's when it fails. 15 had no story, 60 hours of camping, 2 hours of final boss, lore dumping. Yeah, Final Fantasy I think was interesting because a lot of the story you had to get outside first. Like you had the movie, you had the anime. The books came after. I never read the books. And so it's another one of those. I like when there's a lot of deep lore, but I don't always love when it's separated out. Now I watched it all because I'm a huge Final Fantasy, franchise. Just I love the franchise just in general, and so I did watch the movie. And I did watch the animes, but I think it could have been a lot better if that stuff was in there and somehow baked into the story. And where the story had a big pacing problem too is you figure what happens at the beginning, right? It should be like total chaos now, but they have time to go cooking. They have time to go do their bro stuff, right? And so it just doesn't make a lot of sense in the structure of what they're trying to do, how casual they can be about it. Like that's a bit of a mismatch in that game for sure. Open world RPG should never be in the same sentence. Can't tell a compelling story that isn't linear or more. Yeah, it's I'm trying to think if there's games that are open world RPGs that make sense. Someone might say Skyrim, but I'll be honest and say I never played it, so I can't really comment on that one directly. Would you consider Witcher 3 an RPG? Or is that more action adventure? Because that one as an open world does really well. I think it does still suffer a bit from the same problems of you can spend 100 hours doing other stuff when there's like this big bad kind of coming through. And it's hard to balance that. But as far as game worlds go, that one nailed it. I remember losing hours to finding just side quests that were just written really well. And I just have so much fun playing those versus just going straight through the story to do the story. Oh, okay. Yeah, Witcher 3 is really good. And now they got the new one coming out with Ciri, I think is her name, as the protagonist instead of the main Witcher. Definitely a good game, though. Okay, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we should call it an RPG or an action RPG or what the right terms are these days, but I don't know. Alex, did you play Witcher? I guess more in particular Witcher 3. If you did, I'm curious what your thoughts about its version of the open world versus being an RPG are. Yeah, where was the 15 team? Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And that's the thing too, is like a lot of what they did that improved the game was in the DLCs. And like that whole segment in Altissa, or Tisha, however you say that town name, it was made so much better in episode Ignis. And to me, I feel like for a game that took 47,000 years to come out, somehow they ran out of time getting that into the base game, because that really felt like it should have been there the whole time. And what it added to that whole segment of the game was just so much better than the original version of it. I would say episode Prompto was pretty lacking. A lot of people seemed to like it. I thought it was just kind of whatever. I don't really feel like they needed that one. And then episode Gladio, or whatever they called it, that one was neat. Like, it gave a little bit of context to why he was, like, you know, just missing all of a sudden and where he went. And I mean, it brought in Gilgamesh, which is, you know, from the Final Fantasy lore standpoint, one of my favorites anyways. Did that not click the box? Is it going to make me do something else first, like that button? Never played the DLC. That's fair. It's if you didn't like the base game enough, then I would agree that, you know, playing the DLC probably wouldn't do a thing for you. It's like it gives a little frustration because, like I said, you feel like that stuff should have been there the whole time. Oh, did I miss a treasure chest behind me? Yes, I did. It's right there. So it is frustrating in that sense. And the other thing too, and this was, it goes more into the reason why I feel like the game somehow managed to not be ready, even though it had all that time and a lot of stuff was cut, is, I mean, you obviously remember in the original game, you couldn't control your party members. And it wasn't until, I think it was episode Comrades, or whatever you want to call it, that DLC, that you could actually control your party members. And it was just so strange that wasn't there from the beginning. And I wouldn't say it was like my favorite party system once you actually could, but it's definitely better than not being able to. I just looked over my chat. I was about to ask if you played 16. 16, man. I love 16. That was a great game. I just need the boss. Okay. 16 blew me away from the very, very beginning of it. Like that first whole opening prologue, or whatever you want to call it. Absolutely fantastic. The writing was done well. I think the environments looked really good. Graphics were just spectacular. Yeah, so Final Fantasy 15 was originally part of the, I think they called it Fabulous Crystallis Novus or some crap like that. But it was Final Fantasy 13 Versus. And Lightning was actually going to be a part of it as well at one point. And that all, who knows what they did with half of those thoughts. You know, the other mechanic that they use in games quite a bit that I absolutely flip and hate, and they did this in Final Fantasy 13-3 Lightning Returns, is the timekeeping mechanics, where you have to do something within a certain amount of time, or you miss out on this thing and that thing. And I hate when I feel like I need a guide just to be efficient in a game the first time I play it. to me, that just feels like a failed mechanic. 15 was so terrible they had to change the name from 13 because 13 was too... I'm glad you like 13. So many people hate 13. And... Oh, I should have actually looked at what he just said. Did he tell me to kill the rider first? I'm going to actually have to pay attention. Let's find out. But, oh, dude, I love 13. I wish I could spin my camera around. To my right here, I have, like a glass case or whatever, like an IKEA one. And the bottom two sections are Dragon Ball. So different Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z type characters and stuff. The top two shelves, I have all of the Final Fantasy 13 Square Enix figures. So I like them. I like that game enough that I've spent a fair amount of money getting those. And then the top, like on top of the whole case, is the 3 Final Fantasy Tactics figures that they launched maybe 2 years ago, something like that. And so yeah, huge fan of 13. Love the soundtrack. It's up there as one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time. Really memorable songs. A lot of it's just the vibe. And I think that what they did with that story, honestly, I think a lot of people just jumped on the hate train to jump on the hate train. That's my opinion. I don't know why it caught as much flack as it did, because people bitch about it being linear. But then you look at 10. 10 was quarter linear based for the most part as well. And that's, very widely well received. 12 is its own genre. I mean, 12 was basically they tried to do another MMO and ported it to a single player game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that OST is so good. You're not allowed in this chat if you're not a Final Fantasy. I should make you a mod, and you should check people. And if they don't like Final Fantasy 13, you know what to do. Even though the sequels for Final Fantasy 13, I still liked. I would say, do I like 2 or Lightning Returns better? So I think Caius is a good villain. I know, how dare they, Alexander. Caius to me, well, I like a couple types of villains, but the type of villain I like the most is one that I can sympathize with to some extent. And I don't find him to be as irredeemably evil as many villains are. Like if you think about Kefka from 6, right? So Kefka is a great villain for a different reason, because they're truly psychotic. And, there's no mistaking that they're the bad guy. I think they tried to remake Kefka with Arden in some ways in 15, and it just didn't work the same. Like Arden came out from the beginning like, okay, this dude's the bad guy. And again, they didn't flesh out his story until the last freaking DLC, so you didn't have a chance to be sympathetic towards him. Kefka was just irredeemably an asshole, and I love him for it, right? So he's a good villain for that reason. But Caius, you understood his journey. You understood, he's basically a good guy from his perspective, right? And not just a good guy because he's, the antagonist and he should be, but a good guy because he's just trying to protect someone. If you think about the main cast, they're just trying to protect themselves and their friends. So, like, how is he any different? And so I like him for that. Yeah, he is very emo. I mean, his character design is very, very emo. But if you think about his motivations, his reason for being the... God, I need to pay attention. I'm not even looking at this fight. I thought we'd be out of it by now. Where are we at? Sorry, hold on. Bumble, she's not ready, so she... Let's do this. I have no idea what rotation my characters have been doing, so I haven't been watching my screen. And I feel like we should have already killed this guy. But yeah, I think from the motivation standpoint, I think he's more interesting than a lot of characters. Yes, I can launch this. There was probably like a very important mechanic that I absolutely just didn't read as we walked into this fight, which is very typical for me because, again, I am too impatient to wait for the translations and actually pay attention. Okay, yes, let's get that going. I'm curious how long it's going to be before we get into a Final Fantasy 17. Because they certainly don't rush launching their games either. Get some penetration going. You're missing this. My turn order is completely out of whack too. She should be going before Kasumi. I should probably buff this way. This guy's almost dead finally. Final Fantasy 17 after, yeah, definitely after part 3 I would think. Yeah, the Final Fantasy 9 remake, I mean, it might as well not be a rumor anymore. I think it's that definitive at this point. The one that I hope they're doing, this one's been on the rumor mill for a while. It came back on the Steam leaks back in the day. Oops, is Final Fantasy Tactics. So I'm curious if they actually are going to remake that one. That would be great if they do. Do I not have any? I don't even have any freaking mana left because they took too long to do anything in this stage. Not so. I love 9. I think that one is definitely up there as one of my favorite. Oh, we got a cutscene. As one of my favorite Final Fantasies. I played it again. When was it? Like 3 years ago? Somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm not sure exactly when. Oh, nice. Then he comes out here in a week. If they're skipping 8, 8's your favorite? No, I played 8 when it came out. So what is this? Late 90s, right? And it didn't grab me right away. And so I tried it again, like maybe a year after. Same thing, didn't grab me. And so I picked up, what is it, the remaster or whatever the more, we finished all that, cool. Whatever the remaster, repolish, whatever you want to call it is. I picked that up on Switch and I played it only a couple years ago. This time went through the whole thing. And so I will say it's definitely one of the, now keep in mind I didn't do any super bosses, but it's definitely one of the easier Final Fantasies. That junction system, you can definitely break some things pretty quickly with that. And again, it's another one of those where it's like not hard to figure out how to break it. But I like the story now that I've actually finally played through the whole thing. It does do a lot of like the time travel, timey-wimey stuff that can get a little bit like, but I certainly didn't dislike that. I think if they made it or remade it in a more modern way, that I try to think of how they would do it, because I think they would have to do something with the junction system. I just don't think it would stand the test of time. Dude, the story is wild at the end. Yeah, like that whole section you're talking about is like, what? I would be interested in how they do it. And here's my thing is I hope they don't do any more remakes like they do with 7, where they're trying to change core parts of the story. Like, tell it in a different way, flesh it out more, fine. You know, add that context. You know, you can do a little thing here and there different, but if I'm in love with the story, I don't want it to be fundamentally, you know, turned upside down. I really don't. I want to enjoy it for what it is, and just see it in a new way, I guess is how I would say it. So yeah, I really wonder what they'll do with that. I do need to buy this thing. And let's get all these. Slowly clearing out all this shop too. They kind of are, Alex. Alright, I think that's all I have in this area. I don't really do anything in this palace but collect my rewards. Didn't even I gave up on Kingdom Hearts, honestly. I played what one, two. I played the 3DS one. Was it Dream Drop Distance or something like that? What else did I play? Did I play all the way through 3? That story is so damn convoluted that I gave up. I'm like, I'm out. My sister tells me about it. She keeps me up to date, but I don't know that I'll ever play another one. They also stopped really having Final Fantasy characters in there, which kind of killed it for me as well. 7 remake, like I said, I did the first one. I enjoyed the first remake. I don't love what they're doing with the story, and that kind of leads into what I was just saying about part 8, if they ever do a remake. It definitely put it in a position where I'll be more cautious going to other ones. And again, it made me not want to rush to get part 2. All right, so I have enough for one of these pulls, so we'll see. I don't think I'm near a pity, am I? I don't remember. Oh, that's right, because we got someone on the last one. So yeah, so unless we just got crazy luck, I'm not anywhere close to a pity. Let's see. Yeah, that looked like regular sparkles. I don't think that was special. Yeah, that's a 4-star. I still need Dog Girl. Howler. That's her name, Howler. I keep forgetting her name to the point that I just feel like I will never remember it, but it's Howler. All right, and everybody else on my 4-star roster is maxed out, so these guys just go into the currency pool. All right, so what time? So we still got some time. Let's see. We did what? We did the train last time. I did some more train. So let me see where I'm at on that. I'm getting close. Yeah, I'm 158 out of 180. And then I still have quite a few of these to get through. I'm not even going to bother with ice because I haven't leveled up an ice team. Salt is... Oh, I can do Psy now because I actually have a Psy team. And then what is Axis? Okay, Bless, I have Bless, obviously. Wind, I have nothing for Wind. I've got Morgana. That's not going to help me there. I get why they did it. They really expanded the story if you dive deep into it. But the Endless... Yeah, they have a ton of side quests in that game. And again, it's another one where... And sorry, if anyone is in chat who is waiting to play the first part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake still, you're about to get a couple spoilers. But it's another one where I feel they did too much. They did too much to try to make it feel different. And it's not what I want. Like the story of Final Fantasy VII as it came out on the PlayStation was really good. It was a solid game. I loved it for what it was. And trying to make a different path and bring other characters back and all this other stuff, not necessary. What I liked is where they expanded certain things. Like, I mean, obviously they made a whole game out of what was basically, I don't know, the few opening hours of the first game. And so it's interesting how they expanded it. And there's some extra parts that they did that I think were cool. But I don't think they had to go the direction they went with it. And I'll see. I'll eventually play them all, like all the remake parts. But I really hope they don't do that with future ones. Let's see if... What else? All right, so I already did SOS. I haven't done any of this. Let's do some of this. What is our Astro log thing this period? Oh, although I don't want to jump in the Discord right now and read up on it. Oh, wait, we haven't progressed through the next one. I thought this actually would have reset to the next one, but it did not. What do we have? So I'd have to have 2 single targets. This mode here is a mode I think I'll enjoy a whole lot more in global because I'll have more teams built up. You have to have a deep roster in this one because you can only use so many characters so many times. And I just don't have enough roster to do that. And 2, like they all have special conditions that just will make so much more sense when the translations are, well, one is in English for me. Some of these are fine, but Yeah, I don't feel like messing with these translations. I don't feel like pulling up on Discord right now. Alternate universe of Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, I mean, it's something like that. I don't know what the heck they're doing. But I do need to play the second part of the remake. All right, what else do we have going on? So we can do the train, or we can do another segment here. Because I still need to do more on this one. I have 10, 20. I have 20 more chapters to do. So maybe we'll blow through a couple of these. I'm not sure that we'll finish all 10. But we can definitely get a few done. I can't have a navigator. That's kind of messed up. All right, so we're going in with a really weird team. That's not the most synergistic team ever. It's 3 different elements without a right buffer. What is this? I just hope that whatever they do with Final Fantasy IX, with whatever remake they do, that it still keeps that really core fantasy story they have. They don't try to get too modern, I don't know, things with it. Because part of the charm for me in that one really is just the way they handle the fantasy of it. And that's the thing I don't want to see them destroy. Murmur. I love when he does that. Alright, I can go up there. Okay, yeah, treasure chest. We're just like stealing people's ATM cards. That feels appropriate. Anything over here? Nope. Alright. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Yes. Oh God, I hope not. I would honestly be fine if the Final Fantasy IX remake is just a modern touch of paint. Just bring it up to like today's graphic fidelity. Keep it cartoony looking. You know, keep that style that they had with it. Maybe do a little bit of changing to some of the skill inheritance. Because if I remember well enough, it's all basically coming off of the different items, right? And then who? You had Quinoa, Kinoa, how the heck you say their name. They were the blue mage. And so they had to eat enemies, if I remember well enough. But I think they could polish the combat system a little bit, but keep it that active time battle system. I love that. And maybe just make it slightly faster, because one of the things are... What is he saying? When you obtain this treasure... Oh, let's keep investigating. Did they get everything? Does that count as the treasure I need to find? So maybe we can go into that room. I'm not sure. How do I get there? I just want to see if there's another chest I didn't get. Oh yeah, it's not there. Okay. How do I get back? There we go. But aside from that, just let the story be. Let it... I would love a single release, slightly prettier, some modern conveniences on it, and just call it a day. Like, I don't need a whole rewrite like what they did with 7 Remake. Now, I will say, one I would love to see remade and brought into the modern world is 6. 6 is such a good game. I don't know, Alexander, if you're still here or not as well, but if you are, have you played through 6? Because you seem to be quite the Final Fantasy fan as well. And anyone else in chat too. We've been talking a lot of Final... Where's my cursor? I have lost my mouse cursor. I legitimately cannot find my mouse cursor. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it on a different screen. Yep, I can find it on a different screen. Let me switch. Hold on a second. I'm not sure if the game just crashed or what. Okay, yeah, I can get my cursor in literally everything else except for the game. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's back. That was very weird. I have no idea what that was. Could just be server slowdown from it being, I'm sure, very far across the world. Alright, anything up top first? Yeah. Sometimes they do this where they actually put stuff behind you. And so then when you don't do the exploring before you go down the stairs, you end up missing a bunch of stuff. I cannot jump down. Okay, so now we can go forward. Could you imagine if that was just their new go-to, Alex, was to just remake everything with 3 parts? All right, so I have not played the Pixel remaster, Alex. What is what's different between like the Pixel remaster and just the either originals or older versions? I mean, there's so many versions by this point in time. I think I played like an iOS version before the Pixel remaster. I actually remember playing it on Super Nintendo when they called it, what, Final Fantasy 3, I think it was back then, in the US. Not that it was actually part 3, but they just called it that. Because what, 2 was 4 out here. There you go, climb up. Climb up. Did I miss a card? Or am I getting towards the card? I hope I don't have to go back for that. Oh, speed up. Yeah, I think even the version before the Pixel Perfect, whatever the heck they called it, had some of the speed up stuff too. Which sometimes is nice. I mean, I guess I'm glad the options are there for other people, but I just hated how sometimes they add things like, oh, you can give yourself infinite health, or, you know, all things hit for $99.99. And to me, like, it kills the game. Thankfully, it's an option, right? Like, I guess you just don't have to use it, but it can be tempting, like, from time to time, to try to turn those things on. Six had some really memorable scenes, though. Like, I didn't know this, but I saw a video about it on YouTube not too long ago. That whole section, when you first get to the World of Ruin, where Celeste is on that island, I guess depending on what fish you catch and feed and how fast you do it will completely change the outcome with Sid. And it completely alters like the whole perspective on how the hell did I get in this room? It changes the entire perspective on that scene where she's like up on the cliff after, and it's such an interesting thing that they added, and I would have never known it because I never apparently caught the right fish. But just like that scene, the opera scene was really good. Obviously, where you first get to the World of Ruin, or what leads to it, I should say. Like, that's a really good one. Like, there's just a lot of really cool parts to that game. Yeah, speeding up on grinding, that's where I think it's a lot of, that's a good quality of life. I agree with you there. I know like with 9 on the it's not the pixel remaster. Well, I don't even know, they wouldn't have a pixel remaster for that. But whatever the version is on iOS, or is it Switch? I don't know, whichever, that's on every freaking system these days. But that one has the fast combat options as well. And so same thing, yeah, if I'm grinding out trying to get skills or whatever, like I would turn that on. And I think that makes perfect sense to me. Did you ever play Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO? I already pressed that. I played up until the end of Endwalker. And then they started like a whole new story now, and I haven't picked it up for that. I really enjoyed that game though. I had actually played it before Realm Reborn for quite some time. Not to the point of like, maxing everything out or anything like that. But for a decent chunk of the story, God knows what Yoshi P did that changed that game was phenomenal. I still have a couple things to get in here. What do you got? I got a boss and 3 chests. 2. We're down here. Not an MMO person. I don't play them right now. I definitely played them for a long time because my first MMO I got really, really hooked on is one called City of Heroes. And even on my channel, you'll see some guides that I made for it or videos or whatever. And that's honestly one of my favorite games. And it's not that it's, super, super deep story that's going to make you like, have an existential crisis or something, but it's the freedom of what you can do in it is so much fun. And I just have really, really fond memories of playing with my brother back when we were closer back in the day. And so that was my first like really devoted to MMO. It got shut down years and years ago, and then a private server actually came out for it, which was really cool. And so I still log in occasionally and play on the private servers. And they got sanctioned by NCSoft, so they're actually legitimate now. They just have to run as a not-for-profit. And then I was into World of Warcraft for a while. I'm trying to think. I played that one. What was the frickin' expansion? Wrath of the Lich King, maybe? Or Burning Crusade? I can't remember which one was the more... Yeah, see, now my cursor's gone again. I guess we'll just have to let it hang out for a second. It caught itself up after a minute last time. But, oh, there it goes. But I played that one up until, I think it was Mist of Pandaria was maybe the name of it. And I had stopped playing it. And then I think I went back on like a 7-day free trial. And I just couldn't get back into it. But that one I played for a minute. What other ones was I into? The Star Wars one. So that one I was really into. Oh god, where do I need to go now? Let's go backwards. I really enjoyed the Knights of the Old Republic. That was a fun one. Oh, I can go in here now. Or not. I take that back. I mean, I played a few that like came and went. Tabula Rasa I tried. That one died off really quick. Oh, there was a Warhammer one. I think I actually played the Warhammer one in beta testing longer than I played it when it actually came out because it died off too quick. A couple of Flight by Night ones I tried here and there don't really matter. The one I do miss, that was a lot of fun. It absolutely would not hold up to today's standards, was the Matrix Online. And partly because it was actually written with the Wachowski brothers. Well, I guess sisters now. And they, like, the story was canon. And so that one was really cool when it came out. And they had, like, the actors came back and did voice work and stuff like that. So that one was fun. God, what else? guess I've played quite a few. DC Universe Online I played for a long time. That one got too cash grabby though, unfortunately. I think what keeps me from MMOs right now is probably the time commitment of them. And I'm not going to be into the raids or anything like that. Star Wars did a really cool thing where the raids were part of the story, but you could go into them solo the first time. And so if you want to just go through the storyline and still experience all that content, you could. But then you could then also go back and raid it and get like the top end gear and loot and all that other good stuff. And so I like how they did that because it gave that enjoyment and you didn't feel gated by not being able to do, you know, all this practice in raids. Oh, Guild Wars 1 and 2. I actually played those. God, I played a lot of MMOs. I guess I did. Now I think about it. Nowadays, I definitely don't have the time though. We can skip past him. I don't need that guy. Wow, this is quite the puzzle. Let me guess, I have to push this. Oh, fancy that. Yeah, I mean, they take so much time. It's without a doubt. Alright, spikes are gone. Oh, like it matters that you guys see me. Fine, let's fight. I'll just auto battle through it anyways. I wonder if there's an MMO that could come out that I want to really dive into again. I almost feel like the whole genre is kind of dying off though. Like you still have the behemoths of Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft. Like I don't know if there's other big ones. Like I certainly can't think of any off the top of my head. But I think they are big more so because they have lived so long that they're just on the right side of the curve, right? Like they were in the right place, right time, right kind of marketing and such, and they built a big enough following to be able to stand the test of time. And I think that's, you know, again, a big reason for their success. I gotta go back for the treasure chest. But I think why so many others have come and gone is they either try to copy the formula too much, or I think people just realize, hey, it is that kind of time commitment. And, oh, okay, so he's going to attack me. And the attention spans, I don't think are there for it. So many more games now are more of the, I don't know, quick gaming session type stuff. Like think about like Fortnite, you know, your battle royales, or, you know, the Marvel Rivals that came out, which is another one. They're just faster to get into and faster to get out of. And I just don't see a lot of people wanting to do the big sessions into those big worlds. And the investment it's got to take to make one of those is huge. So how many companies are going to be willing to put in that amount of time, that amount of effort, that amount of finances, especially to get out of my way, dude, to generate that game? Okay, we've got everything. What am I supposed to find in this room? Oh, it's that one. No, it's not. I was wrong. Oh, it's up here. Okay. There we go. Got the elevator. I think too, like in MMOs, it's honestly very similar to Gacha games in the sense that if you miss something, it can feel so penalizing Like, because you know, let's look at we'll take the gacha stance on it for a minute. Let's look at this game, for example. When I pulled Violet, I didn't think to get her weapon. I think I was saved. I can't remember why I didn't get it then. But because I didn't get it, I'm stuck waiting for the next time that content drops. And I get that's part of the model for gacha games, right? They want you to get the FOMO and then, you know, feel like you have to get it then. If you don't have enough resources, spend your money. I get that from this perspective, right? In an MMO, you have your monthly fees, right? So you don't necessarily have this FOMO drive to spend more out of your wallet to get something typically. But I feel like there's a lot of, if you weren't there when it happened, like you feel like you missed out. I remember that like with WoW. For most of my time when I played WoW, I could not raid. Like I didn't have the time or whatever. And there was only one, it was Burning Crusades, yeah. There was one time in Burning Crusades where for a short period of time, I was actually able to be a raider, if you will. And the game was so much more enjoyable getting to live the full culture of it, right? And on all the other times I couldn't, and again, I just felt like I missed out. Or like other people would get to the new zones and go through it, and you'd have that like whole awesome kind of initial rush. And I missed that so many times because of just life commitments. And that's something I think they have going against them. It must be this episode has a glitch because it keeps like losing my cursor whenever I go through it. Raised alertness. What did I do? Whatever. It's not like the enemies are hard. Anything back here? No. But there is a treasure chest this way. Where was it? Up and to the left. Okay. Kingdom Hearts. I did play Kingdom Hearts Unchained. That was a fun one. My sister was in a guild and she told me about it and she got me into it. So I do remember playing that one. I think I came into it a bit later into its lifespan though. Oh, that was probably telling me something important I didn't listen to. That's all right. Let's just not go step on those things. Yeah, the gacha game that I definitely spent the most time and money in would have been the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Still my favorite gacha to this day. Sadly, that obviously got shut down. Or shut down. Didn't get shut down. They end-of-lifed it. Five and 3. Oh god, this guy. That game just really kind of hit all the notes correctly for me. If they ever came out with like a part 2, like I'd be all over it. There was also Final Fantasy Record Keeper. That one I liked for a long time, and it had that whole pixel aesthetic. But it got to the point that it just felt too much. Like they did too much to kind of keep bringing new stuff to characters. I don't like the direction they went to towards the end there. And so I left it. What's interesting is this game is almost the exact opposite thought process in that if you think about a lot of games, gacha games, you have your basic character stuff when they first come out, and then somewhere down the line, they'll go through and do like, okay, new types of weapons or new types of powers or something like that. And this doesn't. This one, it's you get your character, you get your weapon, and that's it. Like you'll level those things up, and that's kind of the expectation of the game. Now maybe they change that someday. Obviously, it's not written in stone, but it'd be interesting if they go back and say, oh, now everyone's going to have like a newer weapon that gives new powers, or they get like a second persona, evolution or something like that. I don't know. But from what they've been doing, otherwise, they take your 4-star characters, from the story, and they've been getting 5-star variants more recently. And I think they'll probably do more of that versus changing like adding to the existing characters besides just like balance passes and stuff like that. Day one player to the end on Kingdom Hearts. It's always, I do feel bad when games go end of service, and I wish that more would give some sort of an offline version to it. And I get that they're based on server architecture, and so maybe that's why they don't often do it. But it would be nice, especially in a game that you love, like say your Kingdom Hearts or like for me Dissidia, if you went through all that time, all that effort. Like I said, I spent money, quite a bit of it, on Dissidia. If when that was all said and done, you ended with something you could go back and play, right? And maybe they just give you all the banners or ways to unlock everything. I don't know what the right answer is. But yeah, it would just be nice to be able to revisit it. Is there another Kingdom Hearts gacha game, or were they making one? For some reason, I feel like I read some news about that a long time ago. Was in a top guild. The game ran for a while. Burnout was real towards the end. Oh, okay. But let me ask though, Alex, like if, because it's been a minute since that one's been out, right? Or has been end of service. If you had an offline version, you wouldn't have the server stuff, you wouldn't have the guild bosses and stuff that they had. Would you want to dive back in and play? Like, is there anything that you would go back and say, oh man, it'd be nice to, just putz around and have some fun in it? Or are you just like, hey, I had it, it was fun, enjoyed it while it lasted, and I'm out? Like, what's your take on that? Let's see, this way? Oh, God, the button's right there. Again, waste of time. Like, don't put it right there. Story-wise, absolutely. Okay. I think about, like, even this game, like, obviously, eventually it has to end of service, right? It's the nature of the beast of these games. But this game could very easily have an offline version. I'm missing one treasure chest, aren't I? Yes. This one could easily have a offline version where you play the palaces. I need more time. I didn't find a treasure chest. Where you do the palaces, you do the social links, things like that. Where is this other chest at? Am I blind? Let's run around. It's got to be here somewhere. Oh, here's this thing. It's on the other side of that. Am I missing a button somewhere? I did press this one, right? Yeah, I kicked that one. That was here. There's got to be another way to it. Oh, right here, probably. Duh. It also is just a shame, too, with games like that, because somebody put a lot of time and effort, not just somebody, a lot of somebody's, into making those games. And so to see them, just vanish completely, it kind of sucks to think about for, all the developers, the programmers, artists, etc. Because I bet even they, like, on occasion are like, oh, I'd love this show. Maybe they have, like, a new niece or a new nephew or something. Like, oh, let me show you this game I worked on. But, like, they can't because the game's gone. That's why, like, with emulation, like, I get, like, brand new game comes out. Yeah, I'm not for emulating it. But a game like that can't be played again, like, that's where I think emulation it should be allowed. Or games that can't be preserved well. there's a lot of old generation games, you know, from Nintendo, Atari, classic eras that just, short of a handful of cartridges that might be floating out there, the only way to play it is to emulate on a ROM, right? So I wish there was a way with, you know, these gacha games and other games that you could get that experience. No one's going to maintain a server, right? You're not going to like end a service World of Warcraft one day and then, you know, people can run guilds and stuff like that. Well, I guess they can emulate servers, but I think it's just like knowing that you could at least play it in some part would be kind of cool. Yeah, we got to keep the classics alive. I mean, hell, if you think about my channel, the whole thing's built on the premise of 16-bit, right? Like, now granted, I'm not playing an old retro game right now, but my real like love for gaming comes from those eras. I will absolutely still play the original Donkey Kong. Like, that game to me, classic piece of gaming history. What's around this? Oh, whoops. Oh, did it even care that I stepped in that? Like, it made a noise, but it didn't really do anything? Oh, I guess I can just walk right into those. I actually occasionally think about, like, should I know people know me for the gacha side, but, like, should I play more of the retro stuff on this channel? Because I certainly do enjoy it. Obviously, I got people like you, Alex, who I think would show up and hang out either way. But I wonder if, you know, I guess there's a lot of channels out there that do retro stuff, so there's some audience for it. Basically, I just need all the old people with me. So we can reminisce about the good old Nintendo and Super Nintendo days. If you had to pick your favorite system, Alex, and I guess anyone else in chat too, I know the rest of you have been quiet, but feel free to join in the conversations. We would love for you to talk with us. But if you had to pick one system, what would be your favorite? And I guess you can't pick PC because then you could cheaty get through and like emulate everything. Like, I guess original consoles is maybe the best way to say it. I'm pretty certain mine would be the Super Nintendo. Can I move this one or I have to move this one? To me, that one just had so many good games. I mean, the Genesis was great as well. I actually think my brother likes the Genesis more than Super Nintendo. We had them both. Oh, speaking of good RPGs from the conversation earlier, Chrono Trigger. That one, that might be my favorite RPG, actually. PlayStation guy. Dude, the PlayStation 1 was so revolutionary. The game, like every game that came out on that, it just brought a new wow factor. Like, think about when Twisted Metal came out, or Crash Bandicoot, or like even Street Fighter Alpha was on there back in the day. I remember playing the shit out of that one. There was so much innovation in that time period. And really, I mean, that happened with the Nintendo, that happened with the Super Nintendo, N64. Like, each console era has it. But I feel like and this could just be because I'm older and I, you know, it's just different as you get older. But I feel like going from a PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 doesn't have the same impact as getting that first PlayStation game, right? Getting into Ridge Racer, for example, for the first time. Like, I remember playing that one quite a bit on PlayStation. Oh, yeah. Nintendo screwed that one, man. That was their fault. They could have had Final Fantasy VII, and they didn't want to do the CD-based stuff, right? And so they wanted to stick the cartridge, and PlayStation's like, that's cool. We're not going to stay with you. What treasure chest did I just miss? Or is it just right here? Oh, there it is. I wonder how that would have played out, because Nintendo was always a bit more, I don't know, kid-friendly in the way they wanted their games to be. And obviously PlayStation pushed boundaries, you know, constantly. And I mean, Nintendo had some stuff. Like, they had Mortal Kombat, but you had to put a code in for the blood and stuff. But, I mean, if you think about some of the stuff that came out on the PS, PS2, it was definitely not afraid to be a bit more adult-orientated. What would we have missed if it had been on the Nintendo, right? Oh, you know what game just popped in my head? Do you remember Parappa the Rapper? I want to say that was, if it wasn't PlayStation, it was PlayStation 2. That game was so fun. Very creative too, like such an interesting title. They had like the onion dude, the sensei. I don't know if we would have had Xbox if PlayStation never existed. Oh, that's an interesting thought. I'm not sure, because would Microsoft have wanted to enter the gaming space without PlayStation? Because there were others, right? You had TurboGrafx 64, which didn't do amazingly well. You had the Jaguar, although the Jaguar was more in like the 32X era. That one didn't do shit all. I miss why I can't walk this way. It says unlocked. Unlock that door. I actually really enjoyed. Okay, I'm missing something obvious on where I could. Oh, can I just move these? That's dumb. The Dreamcast and Sega Saturn. Those two systems did not get enough love or respect. I had both of them. Actually, so I've had every console except for the Nintendo Wii, and I was so broke when the Wii came out that there was just no way I could have ever afforded it back then at that time. But yeah, I've literally owned every single console otherwise. Well, no, I take that back. Like, I did not have TurboGrafx. I did not have Jaguar. God, what was the Laserdisc one? It was like was it Panasonic? I can't think of the name of it now. Oh, hey, Kyotoka. Can't wait for this game to come to console. I've been a huge fan of Persona. Played 3, 4, PSP. Yes, nice. And 5 and 3 remake last year. Good stuff. So you got all the modern ones done. You've got the new remake. Did you play Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal or both? Would be my question for you, Kyotoka. And I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. My pronunciation on names is hot garbage. If you follow the channel for any amount of time, you'll find out I mispronunciate names constantly, and I always get embarrassed about it. Dreamcast had the best version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And I actually have the arcade from Arcade 1-Up sitting in my other room, in like my other mini arcade at the house. And that one's good, but it's based off of a lot of the Dreamcast architecture. Yeah, we're still waiting, Kyo, on the global announcements, but hopefully soon. I think with because when is it? I think it said the 10th is when the magazine comes out that has that they're featuring this game in for Japan. I'm hoping that gives the Japan release date. And I say that because I think the most popular speculation right now, or biggest rumor, is that global will be launched at the same time as Japan. Now, we've not had betas, we've not had any sort of marketing announcements or anything in the US or like European countries and such yet, but it's the thing that makes the most sense. So maybe that'll be like the start of the train of information, which would be fantastic if it is. Persona 5 Royal. Yeah, so if you play Persona 5 Royal, there'd be no real reason to go back to the original Persona 5, unless for some reason you just had an interest in seeing the difference between the two versions. But obviously they added, things to Royal to enhance it beyond just the new story stuff. I do want... Oh, nice little fake wall there. I do wonder if they will get a Persona 4 remake before Persona 6. I have no doubt that it'll happen at some point in life. So to me, it's more of a matter of when. I kind of want it after, to be honest. I'd rather see Persona 6 come out sooner and get to enjoy that new story than to see... Where was that? Oh, there it is. Than to see Persona 4 remade, kind of prolonging how long we have until 6 comes out. Oh. Am I going the right way? I have no idea. Oh, yeah. Okay. I figured that I'd have something hidden over here because the arrows were pointing me the other direction. What am I grabbing at? Okay, let's just bring me back out. Of 3, 4, and 5, what would you say is your favorite? How do I get out there? Must be on the other side. Is there a point to this even having like a siren? Like, who cares? I can knock that out though. 4, yes, okay. I was waiting for you to answer before I say anything. Yeah, 4 is my favorite. Definitely the story of the 3 modern Personas, and I've never played 1 or 2, but of the 3 modern Personas, I fully agree. 4 has the best story. I feel like it has the most, I guess, weight to the story, like what you need to do. I would say 5 is probably the most, if you want to call it revolutionary, in terms of the systems in the game. And then 3, I'll say, has the best graphics polish, only because it's the newest one. I mean, it's obviously very, very heavily built on P5, but I would still say that P5, or I like the aesthetics of P5 better. It's hard to deny that P3R doesn't have like a good coat of paint, right? I wonder if I need to go down when I was down there. Where am I missing a treasure? Not in any of these rooms. I don't think Persona 3 had a bad story by any means, but I'll definitely say that I had, and it's probably my own fault, but I had higher expectations for it than what a lot of people just hyped it up as like the best story, blah, blah. And it didn't land the same for me as I think it did for others. Again, not saying it's bad though. Like it's certainly enjoyable, but you know, if I could only play one of the stories again, it would absolutely be 4. Enough so that I've played the story on different occasions, and I'll probably play it again. I have no doubt that that'll come through my playthrough feed again at some point. Okay, there's the other chest. Okay. I was like, I didn't think I could have missed it. This way. Oh, stupid spikes. I have to go all the way around. We're going the long way, folks. Going the long way. That's good, though, because I actually ran out of those soul gems again when I was trying to upgrade people. Oh, it makes me fight them now. That is probably my biggest criticism on this game, though, is they definitely are not overly generous with the materials. It'll be a little bit easier if you come into the game when it first launches, but when you get to come in later and like do all these catch-up banners and stuff like that, you don't realize that you can get all these characters and you can't level half of them right away. And so it really makes you think about, or at least when Global comes out, it'll make you think about, who do I skip? Who do I invest in? Who is kind of on my nice to have list but can come late? Things like that. So I do wish there was a bit more freedom in being able to level more characters. But I mean, it is what it is. They obviously chose to do it this way for a reason. Why can I not? Oh, I'm going to have to like pull it and then push it. There we go. Apparently I was too fat. Couldn't fit back there. Did make you shed a few tears. 3 surprised you at the end. Yeah, I definitely didn't expect it to end the way it did. It's new enough I won't get too far into spoiler territory just because there's other viewers and just in case they were planning on watching it on their own or playing on their own. But yeah, definitely had some good turns in it. Anything left back there? Nope. There were a couple of the twists I thought were pretty obvious, but I will say the ending scene was really well done. They could have hammed that one in, and they didn't. I think it was really well thought out. I will also note I did not get episode Aegis though. Everything I read about it was the gameplay loop in it wasn't particularly interesting or fun, and story-wise it doesn't seem to resonate with a lot of people. And so, you know, I looked it up, so I understand what happened, but I'm kind of glad I didn't do it, if I'm gonna be fully honest. Can I do anything with this thing? Oh, whoops. Oh yeah, the useless alarms. Okay, we got spiky spikes. Can I... Oh, it still has that other one. Okay, so electric stuff on that side, so I can't go back to do anything. Oops. I just keep running through the alarms. It's terrible. Don't know about you, but I was never able to defeat any of the special bosses. Yeah, I don't tend to go for super bosses, honestly. I do a lot of like hunt style quests, like say like in I don't know, like Final Fantasy type games. Like Final Fantasy 16 comes to mind. I did all the bounties in that one. But once I play a game as long as like a Persona, I tend to just walk away from it after. And so if the side content is kind of in my face during the gameplay, I'll do it. But yeah, I never played any of those super bosses. And like I look at some of the newer ones and I just think they'd probably frustrate me. They'd either frustrate me because they'd be so hard that I wouldn't enjoy it, or they'd frustrate me because I would know how to do it, but I'd have to grind too much to set it up. And, you know, when I'm spending 100 hours in a Persona game, the last thing I want to do is grind more. And I mean, you usually play them enough that it's like, you've got a strong enough understanding of what types of personas to build. And so at least they're not like typically in a position that you have to relearn all that. Is that not enough to do all this? What am I missing? Not that. Sorry, somewhere they're gonna have to let those spikes down. But no, I haven't gone through those super bosses. Oh, there's one over there. That's why. Okay. Well, then I saw it. I don't know if you ever... Oops, I need that guy. I'm not sure if you watched on P5R the newest super boss with Joker in episode Ius, but he is just straight murderous. I watched some videos on people that beat him and, you know, what they had to do to beat him. And I'm just like, nah, like, where am I going wrong? I have to go down here. That's the kind of boss that, like, I'm so happy for the people that get to play that and love it and enjoy it. Like, I feel like it'd be too frustrating for me. At that point, I'd rather probably just play a whole nother video game. Enjoy it instead. I'm just going to run past that guy. He's not one of the ones I need. For completing these stages, you just have to do the red bosses. And this one doesn't have any because it would show up on the icons on the top right. And so I can just safely skip everybody else. They're not really worth the time. I don't know if you ever played Final Fantasy 12. I would not mess with this boss personally, but it's either Tiamat or Yasmat. I forget which one it is. But it takes something ridiculous, like 20 hours to beat him. Like, it's... And this is a game where you can fully set up your gambits to, like, basically auto-battle the game for you. And I just always thought that that was, like, the most ridiculous thing, that they put a boss in there that's intended to take that long. Another game that has really long boss fights, optional ones, is the Xenoblade games. I'm not sure if you ever played those, but like Xenoblade, you know, Chronicles or, you know, 2 and 3. Good night, Max. I'm probably not far off on the going to sleep thoughts. We lose an hour, so was it spring forward on the clocks, as you all know. And that's not going to stop my kids from getting up early, my younger ones. Heck, it's probably not going to stop me from getting up early because my body's just accustomed to getting up earlier. Alright, I'm missing a treasure chest again. Where is it at? Down and around. This way. There we go. Yeah, you know it's going to be crazy because I guarantee this is going to happen. Is they're going to end up announcing the global version of this game. And there's going to be like 50 YouTube videos about it. One of mine will be there. I'm going to be as guilty as anyone else. Kid-free weekend. Oh, man, nice. When my wife and I first were together, we just had my oldest son, and my oldest son is from a prior marriage. And so, oh, I forgot to grab my words in there. Let me go back. And so, you know, we had joint custody, my ex-wife and I, and we, the way we had our arrangement, because he was young at the time, is we would alternate every 2 days until he was a bit older. Then we switched to weekly, and it was kind of fun. Like, and don't get me wrong, I love my son, and I wish I could have had him full time. It just wouldn't have been the best thing for him. He needed both parents. But in any case, like on the days we didn't have him, you know, my wife and I, you know, we weren't married then, but we could just go and do stuff. Like, I remember there was a weekend where we just flew out to Portland. like, and we spent the weekend there because we could. And it was kind of fun. Like we would have like routine weekends without kids because we didn't have our youngest, you know, at the time, this was before they were born. And then he would be at his mom's. And it was kind of fun to get that little bit of, you know, adult only time back in the day. So I do very much know what you mean. I had a complete family free week a few weeks ago when my family went to Boston. I stayed here and I worked, and they all went to Boston for a few days. And I'll say the house has never been quieter. That is for sure. Let's see if I got enough materials to finish leveling some people. I'm working on, so I've been getting people to 80, but again, I'm just like out of stuff. And so now I'm working on getting his weapon up because I actually use my fire team a lot, and I don't have the new Rin, who's, you know, a better fire person basically. And so I'm trying to get, oh yeah, okay, so I finally have enough of those. So I'm trying to finish him off, and then I got to do cards for him. Yeah, and see, I don't have enough to level up this all the way to 80. So that's what I'll focus on like my dailies for the next couple days, and then he'll be maxed out, but he needs he needs cards. So you can see I haven't like leveled these up yet. And then his skills, oh, actually his skills aren't bad. I must have leveled them up before. But like I've been working on Haru, getting her skills brought up. I don't ever use this one, which is why I'm not doing that one. Sweet, so she's got some, okay. And you can convert things up and down, which is nice. But you can also see too, like I'm running out of soul gems. And this is like the ever-present struggle is, this is what I mean by like resources. There's a lot of them you need in this game, and they're not super easy to come by. And so even if I wanted to do this one, like you'll see, I don't have enough soul gems now. It is what it is. You'll get them eventually. But again, I think when this hits global, it won't feel as bad because you're not going to have as many people you're going to try to level up. And I'll do the usual. I'll make guides and tell you like, hey, this person's good, this person's bad. Level this person, don't level that person. Like I can skim through this and tell you like the people I haven't leveled up, like I would never level her. I can't think of a reason I would need her. I have Joker, so I don't need him. She would be a good support, but I have other supports. He's actually a really good win DPS. These two are on my list to level. Again, I don't have the stuff for it. He's a good support. I won't be leveling him ever. I love Ryuji, but outside of him being a favorite, I just won't level him. I don't have a reason to. Closer, I probably wouldn't take past 60 just because she kind of falls off. And Mont is not the best ice damage dealer. I'd rather just wait and get Fox. And so like right off the bat, there's like a bunch of people who don't have to level. And then 5 stars, a lot of it comes down to who you pull. Like all the 5 stars in this game are good. I'm looking through these, and yeah, every single one of these 5 stars is actually good. Is there a bad 5 star? That's a good question. Awesome. Incredible single target DPS. The best character in the game. Best Navi. Amazing single target DPS. Doesn't really fall off until she comes in, but then is still perfectly fine. I use her all the time. Plus you need nuke damage on certain stages. Same with Joker. Joker's great. Are there better AoE damage dealers? Yes, but he's Curse, which is also helpful, and it's not like he's bad, and he's great for a long time because there isn't somebody else. On falls off a little bit, but still good. Haru's great, but you really want her paired with Summer Moko. Morgana falls off to Minami, but otherwise is good. Good Navi. This Rin is a good debuffer and pairs with Joker, so they make like a good curse team. So yeah, I don't think there's a bad 5 star. Well, sorry, Ryuji. I just saw that he's one. Take it back. Ryuji he's not terrible. You're not going to find uses for him. Yes, Kyo. Have a great night. Actually, I'm following right behind you. I'm going to go get some sleep as well. And thank you for the subscription. Yes, and anyone else who's watching, please feel free to sub and like the video. It actually helps quite a bit. So with that, I'm also going to go to sleep because it is about to be midnight over here in Colorado. And so I do have to get up in the morning as usual. Plus, I tend to stop streaming at midnight anyways. But with that, thank you all. As always, appreciate you coming by, talking, chatting, hanging out. And I will see you next Saturday, I think. Wait, am I traveling next Saturday? Let me check. There is a weekend that I am going traveling. Let me see. No, it's not next Saturday. So I will be streaming next Saturday, and I will hopefully see all of you at that time. So until